Hey, Tony Chips here at Chiappetta Shoes. This is a workshop live. Today we have an A6 foot type, high arch, a lot of rigidity in the forefoot. We got some bunions, we got some hallux valgus situations, toes are splayed to the outside. When we're dealing with this lady has had a new set of custom orthotics from back in June. She came in after 4 weeks. She was having some, not discomfort, but it wasn't quite doing enough. So at the first adjustment, we tried a little extra metatarsal pad, some SR Poron, kind of a nice spongy material, and a cushion cork heel bar, both medial and lateral all the way across. She wore this for, I think, about a month and a half, 2 months. We're in September now. And her feedback was that these ain't working. We got to tune it up, we got to redo it. A5 foot type, or A6, excuse me, A6 foot type, when we're dealing with this, we have a nice heel alignment, nice and neutral. Lady's taking some nice steps. Now the forefoot has a cock to the inside, 5 to 10 degrees. So she's got a narrow gait. She's hard on the balls of her feet. Now, it's kind of a Scandinavian Norwegian foot, A5, A6 foot types. When we have this, we have a big expansion of that first metatarsal. The forefoot has 5 to 10 degree of valgus alignment, so the big toe kind of is a main landing point. With this foot, she has a medium to large size bunion and a medium hallux valgus situation, so the toes are splaying to the outside. Now, what we currently have on the orthotic is, it's not a bad thing. One of my guys that did the first adjustment, not a bad first crack, but we're not doing it. So we're switching things up. We're gonna go through that process in a sec. I'm gonna remove what we have first. So we're gonna take you over to the grinder. All right, back in front, main cam. So, pieces that we had on there. What I'm primarily looking at is the metatarsal pad that we had on there before. It was a little too large. So looking at the targeted area, we're gonna take an approach of more targeting for the medial arch on the inside, a little extra support on, actually a medium amount of support on the lateral aspect, the cuboid bar. We're gonna shrink up the metatarsal pad, and this lady also complained that she felt like her foot was splaying to the outside. Now, normally an A5 or A6 foot type doesn't actually splay to the outside, it's more of a flatter foot abduction. But in this case, with a 4-foot valgus, the foot can splay, and you see the hallux valgus alignment. So we're gonna fill that up a little bit. We got 4 modifications we're gonna do today, take to the top down. All right, so with the materials that we're gonna approach, we are going to shrink up this metatarsal pad. We have a nice template that we're gonna use here. I'm not gonna use the red rubber compound, but it's a great template. We're gonna go with a rubber cork combination, and we're going to match up left and right because they measure up the same. Now, with the forefoot, we're just going to take it from about the third met over. All right. Now what I do, art class with tones, right, Scotty boy?
That's right.
That's right, baby.
Tell him.
Yes. All right. So we're going to match that up. So the forefoot wedge, we're doing a lateral forefoot wedge, and we consider that an accommodation metric, okay? We're accommodating, we're bringing the ground up to the foot. Now when we do this, okay, so we got forefoot wedges done. Now, we're going to get this. This is going to be a one-step banger right here, all right, guys? When doing modifications in custom orthotics, this is a part of the process. Chiappetta Shoes offers the absolute best custom orthotics, manufacturing, and the process. Everybody's body's different, and when we approach custom orthotics, we have our principles that we work with. We are an accommodative process. We build you something that's going to be comfortable right out of the gate as quickly as possible, but also with the least amount of intervention. When we do modifications, that is something that we always want to walk the line of, not overcorrecting any situation. We can throw on a whole bunch of stuff right away at first, and it might feel comfortable, but the problem is then you get used to it. You get stuck in a situation where you have to wear that style all the time. And everybody's body's different. Sometimes we have to do a lot of corrections or modifications, but again, it's always walking that line of giving people the right amount without too much. Okay, so we got Met's forefoot wedge done. Next phase. This is an A6 foot type. So we have a medium-high arch that we're working with here. Now, looking at the impression and the setup of this, the arch contour doesn't look quite as high as it should. That could have come through as a little bit more looser alignment in the mechanics of the soft tissue when taking the impression of the foot. So we're going to bump up the medial arch just a touch. Now, you can take a medial arch, a scaphoid pad, a couple of different ways. When you do a scaphoid pad, you can base it off the cuboid back here, the 5th met base, or the middle of the 5th met. The middle of the 5th met, when you approach it farther forward, that's usually with the forefoot varus alignment, where there's a lot of flexibility in the forefoot. We're going to take this straight neutral off that 5th met base there, and that's a standard scaphoid starting point. And it's not going to be a lot, okay? It's just going to be this little triangle here. We're not going to wrap it up against the side, and the material I'm using for this is JMS cork. It's 65 durometer. And whenever you're doing modifications, you always want to make sure that you respect the durometer. Respect the durometer, that's what I'm saying. So when we do modifications, if you make something that's too soft from underneath, it's not going to translate up into the foot. So being a nerd about materials is essential for any good certified pedorthist. And you know, for anybody watching out here, there's literally nobody that does this stuff. It's ridiculous. It's sad. The pedorthic world is just crushed with awful, awful constructions and materials and people that just kind of go about doing their thing really without any thought process. Here at Chiappetta Shoes, what do we say, Scott?
Ain't no better.
Ain't no better than Chiappetta! Woo! So, Scott got that on point. We say that a few times throughout the day, so, all right. All right, again, matching up nice and nice. We got these pieces here. Okay. And if you're good, you can eyeball it. All right. Okay. So we got a standard scaphoid pad, standard positioning. Okay. So that's going to be the next piece. Now the last piece is a cuboid bar. So any of the A foot types oftentimes have a lot of rigidity in the rear foot. And as a part of just general everyday life, their tibias are rotated to the outside, with the A1 being the most rigid situation. Their lower leg structure has a lot of rigidity in the system. So when we deal with situations like that, some form of correction, some form of supination correction is typically warranted. Now, I hate lateral wedges. Because they rotate the knee into a valgus situation, genu valgum. And that, for most people, ain't the best thing in the world. So lateral wedges are not preferred in the rear foot or the midfoot. Forefoot, yes, that's a totally different situation. But in the rear foot, not so much. So how do we accommodate that? Well, we're going to work with targeting the cuboid. When we target the cuboid, this little notch right here, it prevents the heel to rotate externally or supinate. And when we do that, it really creates a nice situation where it hits the right spot without being too burdensome on the mechanics of the foot. Now, doing this, you can typically, in a good orthotic, you can feel right when that cuboid bump starts. There's a natural lateral arch in the foot, and that's what we're targeting there, okay? So, okay. For this piece, we're going to use 6mm or a 1/4 inch 45 durometer EVA. And your standard EVAs are 35 durometer, 45 is right in the middle. This is not a major weight loading area. So you typically don't need to have too firm of a material. We go all the way up to 70 on our foams from a durometer standpoint. So 45 is a little firmer than medium. And this is a little thicker than average, but we're going to taper this down so it's really targeting that cuboid bone, okay? And get everything glued up. I'll be able to put all of these pieces on in one step. So this is a single step process. And when we can do that, it's relatively quick. We're at 13 minutes on this adjustment. This lovely customer is waiting while we're doing this. And this is a big part of, what we do every single day. Beauty of being a certified pit orthotist, if you're any good, is that you can never say you've seen everything. And everybody's body is different. You could see 1,000 of the same foot types and have 1,000 different solutions. So a good certified pit orthotist listens to their clients, they absorb, they create a game plan in their minds when you're helping the customer. And from there, that's where the creativity starts. So, all right. We got our mods, we got our inserts, everything's glued up. We're gonna take a little break. I'll be back in just 5 minutes, less than that, and we'll finish this puppy up. And we're back. All right, so we have an A6 foot type. We are fixing this foot up. We tried a modification, a full heel bar and a metatarsal pad. Something went all the way across medial and lateral, past the heel bone, and a metatarsal pad. The metatarsal pad was too big. Heel bar was not the right adjustment. So we're taking this to go with more targeted approach. Instead of having 2 pieces, we got 4 pieces going on. We were adding more medial support, 65 durometer JMS cork. We have a lateral cuboid bar, 6 millimeter, 45 durometer EVA. We have a more targeted met pad with cushion cork, and then a lateral 4-foot wedge. With these pieces, we are making sure that we get a good bonding process. So when you're gluing materials, you always want to respect chemistry and give it enough time to adhere properly. And yeah, when we do this kind of stuff, we do it the best. So giving it a nice light warming first, and then we're gonna get this put on piece by piece. So, all right. All right.
Hey, Joe. Back on the phone.
Hey!
Say
Jody Bones, you want to get on Facebook Live?
hi, Pete.
All right, so we got the 4-foot wedge, the metatarsal pad.
Go ahead, Joe.
We're gonna put the scaphoid pad on next. And the main thing we gotta heat up, because it's gonna wrap around the side, is the cuboid bar. All right. Perfecto. Getting these all applied properly. Now, whenever we do a modification, we always like to have the customer wear it for at least, depending on what we do, at least 4 or 5 days before we kind of judge it. There's a fair amount going on here. This lady is extremely active. She is retired, but she's moving all day long, and sports, I think there's pickleball involved. She works out at Planet Fitness and does the circuit every single day, which is great. You know, that's a good thing. Everybody should do that kind of stuff. Use it or lose it is what I like to say. So, all right, perfect. Got these heated up nice and nice. I'm kind of going at an angle a little bit. All right. We're going to taper that back from the middle. And again, this is a 6 mil on that piece there, but it's going to get set up. Now this, if you notice, it looks like a little lower arch support. This is a medium-low arch height, or wall height. So, you know, we typically will do an extra 1/8 of an inch on the wall height, but sometimes we'll lower it a little bit for ladies, just from a versatility standpoint for making the inserts fit easier into shoes. There's 3 main aspects when making an orthotic. You have the overall thickness, you have the wall height, and then the base width. Those are our 3 main areas from a manufacturing standpoint. All right, we're gonna take it over to the grinder. Give it a pound. Okay. All right, we're gonna take it over here. Pete, can you throw me the acetone? Thank you, sir. All right, so we are looking pretty. Check these mods out. Good lines are the sign of well-crafted modifications. We got that. We're in good shape here. Okay, so last step, give them a quick little cleanup. A little acetone on top, a little heat. Repuff that EVA. Closed cell foam is responsive to heat, so always remember that. And we are all set. Recap, we have an A6 foot type. Nice high rigid arch, medium high rigid arch with bunion hallux valgus, and we needed a little different tune-up. So we have more accommodation here, correction here, accommodation here, correction here. And that's a wrap, folks. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is Workshop Live. Talk to you later. Ciao.